Hi, this is Ron Darling.
This is Skip Lockwood.
Hi, I'm Ron Swoboda of the 69 New York Mets, and you're listening to MetsMusings with Gary Mack.
Now it's time for some New York Mets baseball talk. Here's Gary Mack bringing you the latest news and analysis from Mets Nation and the world of baseball on another edition of Mets Musings.
Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Mets Musings. Hello, my friends. The winter meetings are over, and we have gotten some early Christmas presents. Now, it's a funny thing. When I was first putting the notes together for this show, I was thinking, it was okay, the meetings. They filled what they needed to do. It wasn't real sexy. But they did a lot, and, there's plenty of time left. We want to rush everything as Met fans. We want to get everything done, fulfill a roster so we can talk about it all winter. But that's not the way you build a ball club. And, in a way, I was a little bit disappointed. Yes, they had signed Justin Verlander. Yes, they signed Jose Quintana. Took care of the rotation to a certain extent. Yes, they did, traded with the Rays for a relief pitcher and signed Diaz already. But I was hoping for a bat. I was hoping for news on Brandon Nimmo. And then all of a sudden, the floodgates open and we get all of this great news. And Nimmo signs. They signed David Robertson and just made the whole show better. It just made my heart light. It made me feel a lot better about the winter meeting. So I'd have to say they have been very successful. Let's run it down again. As I said, they signed Justin Verlander to essentially, replace Jacob deGrom, who left and signed a deal with the Texas Rangers, which came down last week right after we did the show. So that was a hard pill to swallow when deGrom walked away. We'll have a little bit more on that in the a little later in the show. But Mets turned right around and signed the 39-year-old right-handed Justin Verlander 2-year deal, vesting option on the third year. Contract is worth approximately $86 million. So Justin Verlander becomes the replacement for Jacob deGrom. Not a bad replacement. AL Cy Young Award winner this past season. Comes back from Tommy John surgery. Let's hope he stays healthy. He's a tough guy. Pitched fantastic this past year. And he'll be another year better. I know, another year older as well. But I think some of the Met fans are more excited that Kate Upton will be coming to New York more than Verlander is coming. The Mets have acquired also left-hander Brooks Raley from the Rays in exchange for left-hander Keyshawn Askew. Both clubs announced that trade. The Mets have signed 3 right-handed relievers to minor league deals. Tommy Hunter, Sean Reed-Foley, and Jimmy Yacobonis have joined the organization and will presumably be invited to Major League Spring Training, though no formal announcement of that has been made. But Tommy Hunter was up last year, pitched pretty well when he was healthy for the Mets, so I think that's a good deal. I know he's about 34, 35. He's up there in age, but still can throw the ball hard. Sean Reed-Foley's been up and down with the Mets. Has some good appearances. Got rocked a few times, so... but overall, another good deal, bringing these guys back on minor league deals. Let them come. I'm sure they'll be at spring training and see if they can fill out that bullpen. More on the bullpen in a moment. Of course, the big news, one of the big news is the Mets signed left-hander Jose Quintana in an agreement on a 2-year, $26 million contract. He will make even salaries of $13 million in each season. So your top 3 starters, I would imagine right now, the rotation would look like this: Scherzer, Verlander, Quintana, Carrasco, McGill/Peterson, or maybe somebody else. And that somebody else could be Kodai Senga, as the Mets are very interested in that Japanese ball player coming over and playing for them. They are pursuing him heavily. So we'll see if he decides to sign with the Mets. He could pencil in there, pushing Carrasco to the 5th starter, or making Carrasco available in a trade for more bullpen help or a power-hitting outfielder. It's no mistake that the Mets would have a surplus of pitching, though there really is no such thing as a surplus of pitching. You need all the starters you can get, as we learned last year. But it would take some of the pressure off of the salary cap, which the Mets have forgetted. They've blown way over. Steve Cohen has not cared about the luxury tax. He's way over the top limits, and they're going to get hit hard. But maybe he reduces some of the payroll, or the GM, Billy Epler, does, by trading some of these contracts, mainly Carrasco. McCann is on the trading block, and there are teams looking for catchers, so it's possible that somebody would take his $12 million salary, or what he's owed, 24.3 over the next 2 years. Somebody might take that. You may have to pay part of that salary, maybe pay $10 million. It would be worth it to get rid of him at least. So, open up a spot for Alvarez, and you could bring Alvarez along as a backup, with Nito doing most of the starting catching, and Alvarez could DH, and he could be the backup catcher in a more prominent role, sharing the duties more, but that could work. And if it doesn't, you probably have some depth, some veteran they'll sign for the minor leagues to catch. So that's always a possibility. Let's see. So don't be surprised if a Carrasco or a McCann, even an Escobar, gets traded. Don't be, they could be all included in a trade, even Canha, to bring back players to the Mets and fulfill some other needs. The Mets have done a good job filling the rotation so far. I don't think they're done. They've also did a good job filling the bullpen. They have a slew of arms in camp now they're going to be bringing in, and I think they've done a good job in that way. We'll have to see. Right now, we went over the rotation. The bullpen looks like we got Edwin Diaz closing David Robertson signed with the Mets for $10 million, 1-year deal. He'll be your setup man. You got Drew Smith coming back. He could be your seventh inning guy. I mean, so you've got that fifth and sixth inning there. More so the sixth inning guy you want to see about. But you got, like I said, Sean Reed Foley's back. Who else? Tommy Hunter could fill in there. McGill or Peterson, whoever is not starting, could be your long man out of the bullpen. They brought in Brooks Raley, William Wood. They signed, just a slew of other arms that they're bringing in that could take that place. And some of them are starters that they got from Miami. They got a starter and a relief pitcher. So, they'll be at Syracuse, but they'll be backups in case of injuries to come in and do the job with the big club. So lots to look forward to. Of course, they signed Brandon Nimmo, 8 years, $162. That includes a no-trade clause. Again, I think that's a terrific pickup there. And the Mets selected Zach Green, a right-handed pitcher from the Yankees, in a Rule 5 draft. So another arm for the potential arm for the bullpen. He spent last season, Green did, with a Triple-A Scranton Wilkes-Barre team. He posted some pretty good numbers there, 9-0 with 96 strikeouts over 68 and a third innings, along with a 3.42 ERA, 1.21 whip, and a 2.01 batting average against him. Green is 26. He'll have to remain on the Mets' 26-man roster all season, or be offered back to the Yankees for $50,000. His Baseball America scouting reports cites a low 90s fastball with a high spin rate, and it seems he's progressed nicely since, thanks in part to a plus slider. So, I mean, that's the quick rundown of what the Mets have done. We'll touch on a little more. Got an email from my good friend Jeff Cohen. We'll read that in a second. He'll recap the winter meetings a little bit more for us, but and I've actually seen some Met fans complaining that, well, it's the same team that won last year. That's all they did was bring back. They replaced DeGrom with Verlander. They replaced Bassett with Quintana. Carrasco's back. Walker's gone. He signed with the Phillies. They haven't replaced him necessarily, but maybe McGill is a replacement for him. Excuse me. And people are complaining. They brought back Nimmo, so they still got the same outfield. Yeah, but that team won 101 games. And what happens if you look at the pitching staff? What happens if Verlander pitches the whole season? You didn't have DeGrom all season. You didn't have Scherzer all season. Scherzer and Verlander pitch all season and stay healthy. I know it's a big if, but that improves this team immediately right there. So to say, and, they're not done yet. I don't believe they're done. I'm almost to the point that Cohen doesn't care anymore now about how much he spends. I think he just wants to win. I think he was ticked off at DeGrom leaving. I think he was ticked off that they lost the division by one game. And he's going to try to do everything he can. The players have to go out on the field and win. But he's going to do whatever he can to put them in position to win. And I think the the treasure chest is open, and there's reports he wants to go after Senga. There was one report he might even go after Correa, because Correa said he would play third base if he could play with Lindor. Now, that's going to be a huge contract. He just can't afford that unless he wants to go to a $400 million payroll. And they definitely have to cut some people, if they went after a Correa. So I don't think that's going to happen. That seems a lot out of the realm of possibility. But you never know. You just never know. It's like, as I said, the vault is open for a lot of the teams. And guys that just look, the Padres signed Bogarts for $260 million, 11 years. Aaron Judge got $360 million for 9 years from the Yankees. Contreras got a nice contract with the Cardinals for 5 years. Walker got $72 million or something for 3 years from the Phillies. Trey Turner got $300 million from the Phillies. I think if you take all of that, I think that's why Cohen said, go get these guys. And I'll have more on the Nimmo signing. But let's take a quick break. And I will be back after this message.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for interesting baseball talk, opinions, and history.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for barbecue recipes, tips, and interviews from the world of barbecue. If you like baseball and if you like barbecue, then tune in to Baseball and BBQ. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and BaseballTalkRadio.com.
Wouldn't it be great if you could get a PhD in life through baseball? Welcome to Baseball PhD, a tour company for your brain. 30 major league teams, 100 places to see. Let's touch them all as we make the road trip of a lifetime.
Check out my Facebook group. It's at facebook.com/MetsMusings. Go check it out, and don't forget to call the hotline. It's 516-619-6341. Okay, we're back, and want to talk a little about this Nimmo signing. This was a must. They had to sign Nimmo. Why, people want to know? Well, because he is the heart and soul of this team. He is the key to the offense. He gets the offense going. His athleticism, and his hustle and his demeanor on the bench and in the clubhouse is all needed. That's why they had to sign him. And a lot of what he does are intangibles. And sometimes we as fans don't see it. But that's some of the things that he gets paid for as well. And I think he's a good influence on younger players. It's hard to think of Nimmo now as a veteran on this team, but he is. He's turning 30. He is one of the veterans. And hard to think of that. But he is, and he's going to be here a long time, and he's probably going to end up as a Met unless they, they could always trade him. Yes, he has a no-trade clause, but, if he agrees to a trade, that's a different somewhere down the line. We're not talking that now. But the beauty is he made himself. He worked hard. He made himself into one of the best defensive center fielders in the game. So you have him, in center field. If he starts to lose a step, He's also played the corner outfielder, so you move him to a corner at that point. Don't forget, next year or the year after, they're not going to have Marte and Canha will probably be gone. They could re-sign them, of course, but their contracts were 2 or 3 years. I'm not sure which. So they either got another year or 2 years with them. But things could happen by then. So Nimmo was a very important deal. That hole would have been tremendous if he went elsewhere. More so even than DeGrom. They would have missed Nimmo. This is my opinion, of course. But they would have missed Nimmo much more than they would or will miss DeGrom. There was no other replacement for Nimmo out there. There was a replacement for DeGrom, and the Mets got him, Verlander. But Nimmo, no. There was no good replacement for him. So the Mets had to sign him, and I think Stevie Cohen knew that. And he may have overpaid. I'm of the opinion that he got a bargain, considering that Boris is the agent for Mr. Nimmo. I think he got a bargain. I don't know. A lot of people may argue with me, but $20 million is a lot of money. I know that, and to say it's a bargain, but he's getting $20 million for 8 years and some change. There might be some incentives in there. Who knows? But I think it's a good deal. Like I said, I think it's a bargain. I think the Mets made out. Who knows? I was joking with some friends yesterday, and they said by the time this contract's over, $20 million may be the annual salary. The way the salaries are going up in baseball today. So, I'm just glad that they brought back Nimmo. He's a fan favorite, popular guy. Does a terrific job in the community, and what can I say? What can you say more than that? He's just a nice guy and a terrific ball player, and he hustles, and he plays a great center field, and he's a terrific leadoff hitter, which is another thing. Who would have led off if they didn't have Nimmo? Now their lineup is pretty intact with last year, but they're not done yet, as I keep saying. They are not done yet. Is Batty going to be the third baseman, or is it going to be Escobar? Or could they trade Escobar, play Guillorme and Batty there? That's a possibility. And save $10 million. Is McCann going to be here? Or is it going to be Alvarez and Nido? Or are they going to carry 3 catches? Alvarez is going to be here. Are they going to trade? They're trying to trade Darren Ruff. Will somebody take Darren Ruff? $3.5 million. He had a bad season here. He was terrible when he got traded over, but maybe some team in a smaller market will take a chance. I think he's making $3.5 million, so it's a reasonably good contract. Will they keep Vogelbach or they move him? Maybe even Canha may move. They could still sign. They were talking to Benintendi and Conforto. Who knows? Maybe they bring Conforto back. Try to move Canha. Maybe they bring Benintendi in here and try to move Canha. I do like both those guys, Benintendi and Conforto. But they're going to cost you some money at this point. How much more he wants to spend. They want this Japanese pitcher Senga. So I don't know how much more money he's willing to go, how high. of a commitment he's willing to make above what he's got. But I don't know. We will have to see. All right, let's take another break, and I'll come back. I want to read an email from Jeff Cohen of Baseball and Barbecue, and I also want to give my thoughts on DeGrom. And we'll do that right after this.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for interesting baseball talk, opinions, and history.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for barbecue recipes, tips, and interviews from the world of barbecue. If you like baseball and if you like barbecue, then tune in to Baseball and BBQ. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and BaseballTalkRadio.com.
Wouldn't it be great if you could get a PhD in life through baseball? Welcome to Baseball PhD, a tour company for your brain. 30 major league teams, 100 places to see. Let's touch them all as we make the road trip of a lifetime.
Check out my Facebook group. It's at facebook.com/MetsMusings. Go check it out, and don't forget to call the hotline. It's 516-619-6341. Alrighty, and we are back, and I want to give you some well, let's read the email from Jeff first, and see what he says. Hello, Mets Musings. Very disappointed that DeGrom didn't even go back to the Mets to let them have a chance to counter the Rangers offer. Yes, that is a shame. Being in the organization for over a decade is the least he can do, just as a courtesy. But be that as it may, at least the Mets turned around, signed Verlander. Yes, we hear he's 40 years old. Okay, but being the reigning Cy Young award-winning with a 1.75 ERA last season, it is really going to stink just because he has another birthday. Where does it say that a 40-year-old pitcher can't do well? A lot of great pitchers have pitched into their 40s, and those who did pitch many more innings than Verlander. He may not have a Cy Young season, but he was the best pitcher available. And being a short-term deal gives the Mets flexibility for the future spending. That's true. Don't forget, next year Scherzer has an opt-out clause after the season, so he could opt out of his contract, and you'd still have Verlander to overlap another year. And they're really hoping, they're trying to make it to 2024, 2025, when they think some of their young pitching, like a Blake Tidwell and some of the other guys in lower minors, will be ready. Who knows? You don't know with a prospect. It's a crapshoot. But this is the feeling that these guys, there's 2 or 3 of them, that they believe will be ready, and they'll still have a Peterson and a McGill, hopefully. And, maybe they can work these guys in the spring training with a Verlander or a Scherzer to work with them. But again, the pitching staff will turn over partially next year, and definitely in 2 years with Verlander and Quintana, who Jeff liked the pickup of Jose Quintana. And let's get back. He says that it sucks that Walker decided to go to Philly, but at least they only played 13 times instead of 19. That's a good point. Now to get some good bullpen depth, since that will be extremely important. Also need a big bat to protect Alonso in the lineup. Stinks that they didn't get Josh Bell. That would have been nice. Guess they are relying on Vogelback and Ruff or Alvarez. And finally, why do these fans and Twitter care how much the Mets spend on payroll? How much indeed? Baseball is flush with revenue, especially now with advertisements being placed on uniforms. being a partner in the gambling sites and the streaming services. And Jeff signs it. Keep the faith, stay optimistic, and let's go Mets. I agree with everything you say. I don't know why these fans are complaining about how much Cohen wants to spend. I guess it's the Steinbrenner syndrome. They don't want to get like that and buy the whole team, but this is the way. This is the rules of the game. And you play the game. I'm not talking about the game on the field. I'm talking about the game off the field. You play the game by the rules that are established. And people are spending money like crazy on free agents. And if you want to compete, you've got to play that game. And fortunately, they have an owner who has the money and the willpower, and not the willpower, and the passion to play the game that way, to go after these guys. So you may not like it as a fan. A lot of fans like it. Some people don't like it. I'm not crazy about spending all of this money, but it's not my money. Okay, I understand that could mean a raise in ticket prices. It could raise, concessions. It could raise all of this stuff. But what isn't going up in this country? Everything is going up in this country. And, if it gets too high, people aren't going to go. And then, they'll have to have a recession in baseball, I guess. You'll see things start to drop. And keep in mind, Cohen's big idea is to build the farm system. He wants to win now, but he wants to build a farm system. So this, essentially, to him, is buying time for that first crop of players that they drafted when he took over. For those guys to start coming through. That's what they're waiting for. Alvarez, Batty, if they're if they're major leaguers and reach the potential that they're supposed to, Viento, Maurizio. If these guys reach, eventually you're going to have lower priced talent that's terrific come in, and your salaries will drop. And I think that's what he's looking at now, but he wants to win now and do that at the same time. And the only way to do that is to spend money, because you don't want to trade these guys. You see, if you're willing to trade some of these guys, then you don't have to spend as much money. But they're not willing to trade. They might move Mauricio because he's blocked. Shervon Newton is gone, but Jake Mangum, they just traded the player to be named later in the Miami deal, who they were looking at as a fourth or fifth outfielder this year. So I'm kind of surprised. Terrific defensive guy, Jake Mangum. I'm kind of surprised that they let him go, but they wanted these pitchers more. So the point is, they're not done yet, and it's none of our business how much Cohen wants to spend. I want to get to DeGrom before we leave. He walked away from the Mets, and when he was introduced at Globe Field, he emphasized that the club's commitment to spending to win for a long time was a huge factor in his decision-making, meaning the Texas Rangers. That's the goal, winning a World Series, DeGrom said. These guys had all of that same vision. It lined up with what I wanted to do. They showed a ton of interest right from the start, and the feeling was mutual. I'm just very happy to be here. They're signing great guys, great players, and it's going to be an exciting team. It may very well be, but you left a team that paid you $32 million and had 101 wins. That was not exciting enough. That was not a team that was committed to winning a World Series. I don't understand the reasoning here. And now, of course, you hear, and who knows if it's true or bad blood or what, but you hear that he was getting more withdrawn from the players last year. You hear rumors that he was a Wilpon guy, that he liked the Wilpons. He didn't like Cohen, and when the Wilpons sold to Cohen, he wasn't happy. He was planning his out. I guess he wasn't happy making $32.5 million a year. He had to make $35, but for more time. I get it. Look, he took the money. He left. But, again, the players want loyalty from the owners. But they give none back. Did he give back any of his salary because he missed a lot of time? No. Should he have? No, he shouldn't have given it back. He was working hard. He was trying to get back into shape and get back on the field. But the point is, I never saw a player that signed a huge contract and didn't play at all. Jed Lowry comes to mind. Did he give any money back to the Mets? Did he give any consideration at all to the Mets? Almost in a way, I don't know. I can only give my opinion. If it was me, I think that with the seasons I had, I wouldn't have opted out of this contract. I would have took it one more year. Hope to have had a healthy year and come back next year and look for a 3, 4, 5 year deal. He had the opt out. He took the opt out, but he took it after he made 5 starts or 9 starts, where he missed half of the season, and a year after he missed half of a year last year. And he opts out of a contract that paid him $130 million or something. Now it worked out for him, and I wish him all the luck in the world. But it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth for the guy, and I'm glad he's not in the National League anymore. But it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And one writer said it's very reminiscent of the Mike Hampton, who left the Mets and said he left because the schools in Colorado he felt were better for his kids than in New York. I think Mike Hampton admitted that he regrets that he ever made that statement now, and has come back to Mets events, and that's terrific for him. And maybe DeGrom will come back to Mets events in the future, but I just think he left a bad taste in everybody's mouth the way he did it, and these comments, it almost says the Mets aren't trying to win a World Series. And I think I'm not surprised that right after these comments came out, that night, Nimmo was signed, David Robertson was signed or agreed to a deal, and I think the day when he left and signed, Verlander was signed right away. I think Stevie Cohen was giving an answer and maybe the middle finger to Mr. DeGrom. And, it's kind of a backhanded smack in the face that the statements that DeGrom made. But he did thank the Met fans, and so be it. And he's gone, and that's it. And we may see him, we may not. I think you're going to play every team now in this new schedule, so They will play Texas, but whether or not we hit him in the rotation, we'll see. But I wish him all the luck in the world. All right, I think that's going to wrap it up. I've talked long enough. Exciting winter meetings. The hot stove is still burning. And I don't think the Mets are done yet. I think we're going to see some more changes. And can't wait to bring it to you. And we will probably have one more show in this year of 2022 before we come back in 2023. Wow. And hopefully there'll be some more news next week, and we will bring it to you as soon as it gets in. All right, so until that next time, I hope you'll hit the subscribe button, and both on YouTube and on Anchor.fm, or wherever you listen to or watch the podcast. Hit the subscribe button. That way you'll always know when a new episode is coming out. And if you're on YouTube, hit that like button as well. The analytic people like that, so please do that. All right, so again, until the next time, remember to keep the faith, stay optimistic, and let's go Mets. I'm Gary Mack, and I'll see you next time on another edition of Mets Music.